Welcome to the Saloon of Wichita Falls. Big blind is $4. The small blind is $2. The gentleman calls.
I fold.
Raise.
I fold.
The gentleman calls. The flop.
Raise.
The gentleman calls.
I check.
Player checks.
I raise.
I fold.
I got you. I fold.
Fold.
The gentleman calls. The gentleman calls.
Fold, I fold.
The gentleman calls.
Fold.
The flop.
Check.
River.
I raise. I knew I was good.
The gentleman calls. The gentleman calls.
I fold.
Fold.
Raise. I
Fold.
The gentleman calls. The gentleman calls.
Check.
I fold.
Fold.
The gentleman wins $69. The big blind is raised to $8. The small blind is the gentleman wins. This player is out of money. Has left the table. Big blind is $12. The small blind is $6.
That's a lot to bet.
The gentleman calls.
I check. I raise. Fold.
The gentleman calls. Turn. River.
Raise. These are real skills.
Fold.
Wow, look here, I'm shaking.
Fold.
I fold. Fold. I fold.
I check.
Fold.
Turn.
I fold.
The gentleman wins $141.
I fold.
The gentleman calls. The gentleman calls. The flop.
I check.
The gentleman calls.
Raise.
The gentleman calls.
I raise. I got you. Fold. I fold.
Check.
Check.
I gotcha. I fold.
The gentleman calls.
Fold.
Wow, I'm shaking. I check. I check.
The gentleman calls. The river.
Raise. Sorry, but I won.
Raise.
Fold.
I fold.
The gentleman calls.
I raise.
The gentleman calls. River. All in $280. The gentleman wins $639. The gentleman calls.
I fold.
The gentleman calls.
I check.
Check. I check.
Check.
Check. I check.
Player checks. The gentleman calls.
I knew I was good.
The gentleman wins $534.
I fold.
The gentleman calls. The gentleman calls. Flop. Player checks. Turn.
I check.
Player checks. All in $465. The gentleman wins $513. This player is out of money. Player has left the table. The gentleman calls. Flop.
Check.
I check.
Check.
I
check.
raise.
The gentleman calls. The river.
Check. Fold.
Look out for me.
I fold.
I raise.
The gentleman calls. Turn.
I check.
These are real skills.
Phew, that's a lot Fold. to bet.
I fold.
The gentleman calls.
Fold.
The gentleman wins $36.
Fold.
I'm raising.
The gentleman calls. Flop.
I check.
All in, $38. The gentleman wins, $92. The gentleman calls. The gentleman calls. The flop.
Check.
I check.
Player checks. Player checks.
Man, I'm good.
Split pot.
Fold.
I fold.
The gentleman calls.
Check. I raise.
Turn.
I got you.
This player is out of
Player
money. Has left the table. Welcome to the saloon of Wichita Falls. Big blind is $4. Small blind is $2.
I fold.
Fold.
I raise.
That is a lot to bet.
Fold. I fold.
Fold. I fold.
Man, I'm good.
I fold.
The gentleman calls. The gentleman calls. The gentleman calls. Flop.
Raise.
Fold. That's a lot to bet.
I fold.
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 Turn.
I fold.
The gentleman wins $196. The gentleman calls. The gentleman calls.
Wow, I'm shaking.
The gentleman calls. The flop.
I raise.
I fold.
The gentleman calls.
I fold.
The gentleman calls. The river. The gentleman calls. The gentleman wins $262. The big blind is raised to $8. The small blind is turn.
Check.
River. All in with $143. The gentleman wins $449.
I fold.
I raise.
I fold.
Fold.
I fold.
The gentleman calls.
Fold.
The gentleman calls. The river.
Race.
The gentleman wins 200. This player is out of money. Has left the table.
Fold.
I raise.
The gentleman calls.
Check.
Check, please.
Check.
Check, please.
All in with $99. The gentleman wins $249.
I fold.
The gentleman calls. The flop.
Fold.
Fold.
The gentleman calls. The gentleman calls. All in with $249. This player is out of money. Has left the table. A new player has joined the table. The big blind is raised to 12. Small blind is dollars.
I fold.
I fold.
Raise.
Fold.
I fold. Fold.
Sorry, but I won.
That's a lot. I fold.
I fold.
The lady calls. The gentleman calls.
I fold.
Fold.
That's a lot to bet.
I fold.
The gentleman calls.
Raise.
I fold.
Turn.
Check. I fold.
I fold.
I fold.
I raise.
The gentleman calls.
Fold.
Fold. I fold.
I fold.
Check. I fold.
The gentleman wins $90.
I fold.
The gentleman calls.
Fold.
I fold.
I fold.
The flop.
Check. I
Check.
check.
Fold.
Fold.
The gentleman wins $66. The big blind is raised. Player has left
small
the table.
blind is
$8.
I fold.
Fold.
I
Fold.
I fold.
Flop.
Check. Fold.
Sorry, I won.
Fold.
I fold.
The gentleman calls.
Fold.
I fold.
Player checks. Flop.
That's a lot to bet. I fold.
I fold.
I
I fold.
Flop. Player checks.
I check.
Player checks.
I fold.
River. The gentleman wins 300. This player is out of money. Has left the table.
Fold.
I fold.
I fold.
Fold.
Flop.
I fold.
The gentleman wins 56. The big blind is raised to. The small blind is $10. The gentleman calls.
Fold.
Wow, I'm shaking.
Wow, I'm shaking. I check.
I raise.
Fold. I fold.
Turn.
Check.
The lady calls. River.
Look out for me.
Fold.
The gentleman calls. The gentleman calls.
I check.
Raise.
I fold.
The gentleman calls.
Raise.
The gentleman calls.
River.
The gentleman calls. The gentleman wins $262. The gentleman calls.
I fold.
I fold.
Check. Raise.
The gentleman calls. Turn.
I fold.
The gentleman wins $298. Player has left the table.
I fold.
Raise.
The gentleman calls. Flop. The gentleman calls. River. All in $345. The gentleman wins $500. This player is out of money. Has left the table. A new player has joined the table. The big blind is raised to $30. Small blind is $15.
Oh, faith in
Hold
God,
on.
it's a lot of it.
I fold.
I fold.
The gentleman calls. The gentleman calls. The flop.
I fold.
Fold.
I fold.
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 The gentleman calls. The gentleman calls.
Are you ready?
Fold.
I fold.
I fold.
The flop.
I'll check. I'll check. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well.
Oh, that's a
Fold.
lot to bet.
The gentleman calls.
Fold.
Raise.
Fold.
The gentleman calls. The flop.
I'll check.
Player checks.
I'll check.
Check.
All in $646. The gentleman wins $1,456. The lady calls. The gentleman calls. The flop.
I check.
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 I fold.
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 I check.
Player checks. River.
I raise. Well, I knew I was good.
The big blind is raised to $50. The small blind is $.
I fold.
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 The gentleman calls.
Well, I'm shaking. This is tough. Check.
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 Raise.
Fold.
I knew I was good.
The madam calls. The gentleman calls.
Fold.
The flop.
I check.
I check.
I check.
Raise.
I fold.
Fold.
I fold.
I win!
I fold.
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 I fold.
The gentleman calls. Player checks. Flop.
Check. Fold.
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 I fold.
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 I raise.
I fold.
Fold.
Hey, those chips are mine.
The big blind is raised to $150.
Fold.
Fold.
I fold.
Wow, I'm shaking. Fold.
The flop.
I'll check. I'll check.
I raise. Fold.
Man, I'm good.
This player is out of money. Has left the table.
I fold.
Fold.
The gentleman calls. The gentleman calls.
I should have won. Those chips are mine.
Player has left the table.
Fold.
The gentleman calls.
I check.
Check.
I check.
All in $1,143. The gentleman wins $1,805. This player is out of money. Player has left the table. The gentleman calls. Flop.
Raise.
Fold.
Turn. The river.
I win.
This player is out of money. Player has left the table. The big blind is raised to $150.
Oh dear, I'm shaking, I'm shaking.
Check. Check.
I'll check. Raise.
Oh, wow. I'm
Fold.
shaking.
Those chips are mine. Oh dear, I'm shaking, I'm shaking.
Flop.
Fold.
The gentleman calls. The gentleman calls. The gentleman wins $1,815.
Fold.
The gentleman calls. The flop.
Hold, I fold.
The gentleman wins $450. The gentleman calls. The gentleman calls. The flop.
Check.
Check.
Fold.
I check. Fold.
The gentleman wins $900. The big blind is raised to $200.
Fold.
The gentleman calls. The gentleman wins $2,518.
I fold.
The gentleman calls. The flop. Turn. The river. Player checks. The gentleman wins $800.
I check.
I check.
Check.
Player checks.
Turn. Raise.
The gentleman wins $3,168. This player is out of money. Has left the table. Player checks.
I fold.
The big blind is raised to $400. Flop.
Raise.
Turn. All in $2,960. Total pot is $900. The gentleman wins $3,874.
I raise.
Flop. All in with turn. The river. The gentleman wins $2,231. This player is out of money. Has left the table.